Hello and welcome to the Futures 3D video training series. My name is Jeff Christiana and this is video number 22A of Skeinforge 47 video series on how to use Raft. In this video we're just going to cover base. Raft is a very big section, so we're going to have multiple videos for this. So let's start off with base. Base feed rate multiplier. So basically, let's cover Raft real quick. Raft, as you can see in the pictures here, creates a raft for your object to ride on. There's many reasons to create a raft. If your object is curling, then you could create a raft to where it covers a larger surface area, and you basically put your object somewhere in the center. And you can set this raft size. We'll cover that here. Any size you want. You can have the raft go right to the edge. You can have it the part way on the inside. Lots of 20 meters of raft along all the outside. All depends on how you set up. So so this looks like it's about 3 or 4 millimeters away from the outside edge of this object. So the base feed rate, well, feed is your X, Y, Z. So that's how fast your X, Y, and Z motors will move at. Your base flow rate is your extruder speed, and this is a ratio. This base is a ratio of your feed and flow under your speed tab. Please review the speed video for information on that. Your base infill density is a ratio, and that'll be a part of your fill. So if you look under fill, you can see what your density is. So that's usually, I think we have it set to 20%. So this would be 0.3% of that. Your base layer thickness over layer thickness. This parameter, set how much fatter the base layer will be compared to a normal layer. So if you set here 1, the base will look same as a normal layer. But if you put 1.5 or 2, the base will be fatter. The fatness is achieved by slower movement of the head, so more filament per millimeter is extruded, hence fatter the line. Usable values are 1.5 to 2. So we're at 2, so we're at the fattest. Base layers integer. Now base layers says how many layers of base layer type to print. The 1 is usually enough, but with rough print beds, sometimes 2 are needed. More than 2 is just a waste of time in filament. The base layer matrix is not rotated by 90 degrees as one would expect, but printed directly on top of the previous one, so 2 layers will not make grid. Usual value is 1, so it's base layers integer. Base nozzle lift over base layer thickness. You can modify the nozzle height for base layer by modifying this value. If your print bed is okay, standard value of 0.375 is good preferred, but if your print bed is damaged on level, you might want to lower this value a bit to allow printer to fill in scratches in the print bed. The value is related to layer thickness in order to get the same height as the BFB Testera.BFB test raft. The value here for 0.45 millimeter layers should be 0.18. So that is your base. So you definitely make adjustments to your feed and your flow. You can make adjustments to your infill. I wouldn't make adjustments to the base layer thickness or base layer integer. Back when I used to slow down the first layer, when first layer was in the raft, I'd have to change this to 0, and I would have to change this to 0, which would get rid of this, but yet let me print my first row at a very slow speed. But now, since they have separated that under the speed setting, I can now leave my raft alone, and when I click my raft, I'll get my raft, and I don't have to worry about toggling these integers on and off. So the settings that I have here do put down a very nice base. You can see that on the Glacier Steel website where I show printing the fan bracket. It's a huge raft for a huge part, and it really helps. I try to refrain from using rafts as much as possible. With the Kapton tape and our extremely flat bed, it doesn't warp, it doesn't come off, doesn't have any problems. I've printed huge parts without that warping. So leave it up to your need. If you're going to do support structure, you're going to have a raft. There's no way around that. You can come in here and turn off the base layers and interface layers to get rid of the base. If your entire part touches except for some flanges on the side, you can get rid of that initial base raft. But just some stuff to experiment with. Initial circling. Never turned that on before. Let's take a look. Unfortunately for these items, it only says that the default value is 1. There is no explanation for the infill over hangover extrusion width ratio. So that's the base part of the raft. I'll see you in the next video, and we'll talk about interface.